All right, well, welcome everybody. This is the part where you answer back.
Hello, Clark.
Welcome.
Hello there.
Hi, Clark.
Hello.
No, Larry, I can't hear you. I just got your text message. All right, so if you want to real quick, just so we can get everybody rocking and rolling here, go ahead and mute yourself just for a moment. And I know we're going to be having a couple people still popping in here and that, so take your time. We are recording this, so you'll be able to take a look at it. First off, I hope everybody's well and that you guys are either getting some rest in or you're being as safe as you possibly can on the truck and in the hospital. So I know that this has been a very weird transition for us as far as hitting midterms and having a game plan of what we're going to do, and then all of a sudden putting the program on hold. But I wanted to give you an option to ask, and for me to answer any questions that we can. We also have Mark Melcott here for you guys. Larry is here. Paul is here. Daryl is here. All of us, so that way we can start to answer some of the questions you might have about what the schedule would look like, what clinicals will look like, what financial aid will look like, all those different components, your grades, any of that stuff. And then obviously we don't have a crystal ball to answer everything, but I want to give a platform so we can have that discussion. I also went ahead and sent out to you guys a link to a Google survey, or not a Google survey, but a Google Sheet. One of the things that I want to do is I'd like to do a weekly review, and I want to have some input on what you guys would like to do. So if you can just click on that link, it was sent right to Paramedic 2 in Moodle under the announcements. You can click on that link, it'll take you here. You can edit it, it will save it automatically for you. Just toss your name in there, what you think would be one good idea, one idea to stay away from, and any other notes or suggestions you might have. And then there's enough for everyone to post at least one. And I'd like to see that done by Monday so we can start to get a schedule together. To make this as painless as we can, the goal is that we're going to have someone, not necessarily just me, present on information in regarding to class. We've got group testing that we can use. We can't record when we use group testing, so that's something that we can do on an individual basis. We also can go ahead and do things like this Course Navigate 2 Paramedic Review through JB Learning that we just purchased, and you guys will all be getting an account as soon as we can get back to purchase it. But for right now, at least I have an account that we can use and share to do some practice tests and things of that nature. We can do some podcasts. We can do a little bit of anything. I just want to kind of keep you in the loop. There's also in that email that went out to Moodle, there's a link to a doodle poll in there that you can pick the days, all the days that you're potentially available for a Zoom classroom conference. This would be typically between like 5 and 6, just like it is now. You can pop in. We can do other days and times if it's available, but I want to at least get an idea of the day that you're most available. And you can go through, you can select as many of the days that you're available for that. So with that, that's kind of the major announcements that I've had. I'm hoping you've had a chance to check your email for the most part, but I want to open it up to the group to really see what your guys' questions and thoughts are here. And then hopefully we can together as a group answer some of those and get some clarity to where you're all at. Anybody want to go first with any questions?
Do we have to raise our hands?
Josh, please don't speak out of turn. No, you do not have to raise your hands.
My hand is raised.
Go ahead.
So, are we still going to graduate on time?
The answer to that is hopefully. As long as we can get you back at some point during the summer semester, we should be able to graduate you on time. The tentative
What is
plan,
your plan for that without murdering us?
So, good question. The plan is, in essence, right now you guys are used to a 2-day-a-week semester, right? Mondays and Wednesdays. In the summer, the schedule drops down in a normal summer semester. It drops down to just Mondays with paramedic advanced practice in the morning and the pediatric advanced life support in the afternoon. What we will end up doing is we will activate those Wednesdays. What's that?
You forgot about Sims, Clark.
I know. I'm going to get there. Hold on. So you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna have Mondays and Wednesdays. Those are both those days will be active like they typically are. The I lost my train of thought for a brief moment. So you'll have Mondays and Wednesdays. So Mondays will be already your normal summer schedule. Wednesdays will pick up with a combination of like farm and cardio, and then paramedic and lab. And so obviously we're halfway through the semester. We don't need a full semester, so we can do half of the class in the first half of the afternoon, and then like your lab class in the afternoon after that. So in essence, the goal is to try to keep you to that just 2 days a week, so we can continue that schedule. Now, in addition to that, you're going to have to play catch up on clinical hours, and you're going to have to play catch up on simulation hours. Now, sims and clinical are pretty flexible, and there's been enough information released from our accreditation that says we can move back when your internship would start. So, phase 1 is hopefully we're back. If we're back in the summer, so come May 11th, we're back in class. Class will be held Mondays and Wednesdays. There'll be revised schedules that are coming out. People are getting me that information now. And as soon as we have that revised schedule, you'll get that. And so you'll just plan on having those 2 days a week. Clinical and sims, those are going to be scheduled as much as we possibly can. We can, like I said, with the accreditation requirement, move your internship start date back into mid-fall. The fall semester is 15 weeks. Typically, no one takes more than 10 to 12 weeks to complete it. So if we had to move some clinical shifts in hours or simulations back into the fall semester, that would be okay. You'll just have a little bit more of a condensed time to complete the review and complete your internship. Nothing that is not achievable. It's very similar to what we used to do before we elongated the program. Clinical shifts are going to be an issue just based on the fact that we don't know when we're going to get the ability to go back to the clinical sites. That's the biggest one that's hanging out there. We can use some simulation. We can use some other locations, but the accreditation is not really budging on some of the requirements. And I'll probably let Mark speak to that a little bit more.
Well, I think to have had this happen when it did was somewhat fortunate in a way that moving into the summer semester, we have moved the majority of the really intense, hard to get clinical shifts to the summer semester at Bronson. So with 3 days a week scheduled there, with about 6 or 7 of you in those shifts, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, that leaves some flexibility when you're not at one of those shifts to go elsewhere and pick up clinical shifts. So that's the good news. There's also the fact that when you are there, you're also getting ED shifts, so that's great. I don't think that will be nearly the kind of problem that it could have been if it had happened later on. However, that said, everything's predicated on the fact that we're back at the beginning of summer semester. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the linchpin right there. If we don't get started C or D, and I'm not sure what that looks like, because again, without a start date, we don't know. Also, whenever the college opens back up, doesn't necessarily mean that the hospitals are going to let us in. Mm-hmm. So we may have to do some creative thinking. Clark and I have also talked about what the minimum hours are, and we do have more hours than are required. So we do, again, scale that back to a point where we could get to the minimum hour level. We don't want to do that, but we could.
Is there a chance that we might not get to start back up on May 11th?
Yeah. Don't
Yeah.
know. I mean,
go ahead, Mark.
Go ahead.
There's a big push right now for information from the college as far as what the summer semester is going to look like. We don't know. There's a potential that they may only allow for online classes again through the summer semester. That's going to really screw us. The option we have, which is still on the table, is we can move some of the classwork online. Paramedic 2 can get finished online. Pharmacology, cardiology can get finished online. Advanced practice can get finished online. The pediatric class cannot. It's got an integrated lab component, and then obviously that we can't complete clinical or can't complete sims, or the your lab classes that we need to finish. So
Gosh,
it's hard to say that if we can move everything online, that'd be great. But the COAMPs and the state are really pushing. If we have face-to-face things we need to do, we have to do them face-to-face. And there's been a lot of schools. I just had a meeting earlier with all the program directors in the state, and they're trying to be really creative. And this last meeting, they came back and said, "Yeah, we're giving up because there's not much they can do without being able to physically be in the same space. You can do lecture online, but I don't think most of you are going to get what you need out of this experience. That's hence the reason why we decided to hit pause. So it's fluid. It's hard to tell. That's why we want to have open and transparent communication with you. Use technology where we can and see what we can and can't do.
One of the other things that could possibly happen is if the clinical sites actually open up before the school does. And so that might be an option too, and we could get started with that, and that would help bail us out in some of the hours or in the sim. So it's just too fluid. It's just too dynamic. It's hard to tell. You don't know.
But we're not allowed to be on clinicals unless the college is open, like the spring break thing. So if the college is still closed, then how would we still be able to do clinicals?
We'd have to get with our dean and superiors to see if we could not do something a little bit different and out of the box to be able to do that.
Because aren't we like insured or something by the college? Like if we screw up, then we have to be covered by the college's insurance, and if the college isn't operating, then that'd be like a problem.
Well,
right.
That's something that we might be able to ask for a special circumstance, a special leniency, if you will, because there are all kinds of things being done now because of this mess that were never done before, that I've never seen. So if it gets to that, if the clinical sites say, you know what, hey, you can send students back and work 3 weeks before the summer semester begins. I know that there are online courses and some things going on at the college. We could beg the question, and we would. Absolutely.
The goal is that we try to open things up as quickly as we can, but obviously the safety is paramount. So there's a possibility that the hospitals could say we've reached capacity and we need students, and they may ask you to go back. I have no idea, but like Mark said, we got to wait and see. And the college administration does not know. This is uncharted territory. They have no idea exactly what they should or shouldn't do. It's typically better for them to take more precautions than not.
Josh, I think we probably won't have any good idea until the 15th of April at the earliest. And since the governor's put it out to April 23rd now, it could be April 23rd before we know anything. So.
Okay.
There's also rumors that they may not allow for any more face-to-face school for K through 12 for the rest of the year. And that would pose a problem.
Yes, it would.
Well, that's a done deal, K through 12. I'll lay money on that right now.
What other questions do you guys have? So obviously we can't answer the big question, which is what's going to happen. But what other questions do you guys have, or ideas do you have that we can do in the meantime at least? Feel free to type it in.
Got any spare toes?
Well,
feel free to type it in the chat too.
I was just going to say a lot of this is not just diverse because of the circumstance that we're in or when the clinicals are going to open up again, but each one of you is at a different level of how many hours you required. Those of you who are right around 100 hours, well, you're in much better shape. Those who aren't, that's going to be a big, big challenge, no matter when we start.
So how many of us are in like good shape as far as clinical hours?
Without looking and having it right in front of me, I think there's about 6, maybe 7 of you that are in good shape around 100 hours.
I have a question.
There are some. Go ahead.
In reference to clinical hours, of course, I received the email before we put a pause on school about losing Oakland. Now, you didn't say that that was in reference to COVID-19. Is that because of something we did, or is it in fact because of COVID-19?
No, it has nothing to do with COVID-19, and it's not necessarily anything you specifically did as a class. It's been building, and there were a few triggers that happened, and there were some CRNA folks that had closed their door specifically, and the numbers were dwindling for those that we could actually put you with. So it was just an unfortunate circumstance, and by and large, it's something that most all of the schools that teach paramedic programs are experiencing. So we just kind of fell to that same fate.
And will that affect our summer semester for clinicals? Were we supposed to go back to Oakland during the summer?
I think most all of you have got enough hours that we can supplement those with sims. I don't know, but maybe one, maybe 2 of you who did not go there at all, and we have to come up with something creative there.
Alrighty, I was just curious on that, especially based on my last clinical experience when they talked to me.
No, it wasn't anything specific, not directed at any one student.
Alright, thank you.
Yep.
One of the nice things that we did a year or 2 ago is we created a number of airway simulations. And so that way they're short, they're not a full simulation that's come in, and if there's an airway issue, you manage the airway and sim's over. And that will allow for you to get those. And we can use simulation per the state for a number of skills that are required, which is the biggest ones because the state is what requires the 5 live innovations, and we can do those innovations through simulation. So that shouldn't be, I'm not too worried about it.
I thought there were more live intubations that needed to be done.
On your original standards, yes, we had more in there. We're going to have to adjust them. And like Mark said, this is a common thing that a lot of schools are dealing with because there's too many anesthesiologists and CNRAs that are trying to go in there and get innovations, and we're just going to lose those spots typically. So when we did our last site visit, they were impressed that we even had the opportunity to do any OR rotations. But we're now just par for the course like everybody else.
Too bad we can't send them over to the Detroit area and they can get all the innovations they want. Putting everybody in vents over there.
Don't laugh. We may end up having
I
some
volunteer.
clinicals.
Send me.
Some clinicals over there.
I'll go.
We're just doing it anytime there's a cardiac arrest, just, jump it. That works too.
We're innovating everybody in Jackson too.
You may find you get more field innovations once you're able to go back to clinical too. You can get an innovation anywhere.
As long as they consent.
Correct.
I think Clark volunteered to be intubated.
Yep. Sure. As long as you don't paralyze me. I do. All right. Let's talk about the. Is there any other questions? Financial aid. What's going to happen? What it's like with the paperwork getting incompletes? Are you worried about that, or do you feel comfortable with that?
Pediatric.
All right. There was a lot of questions all at once. What was that?
You cut out, Clark.
What was the? Let's talk about. Is there any questions if they're about financial aid, or any questions about the fact you'll end up taking it incomplete for this semester until we finish? So in essence, with your incompletes, for every class, we'll be issuing you an incomplete. There's a contract that goes with it. In essence, that contract is basically going to say we're going to finish it on this estimated timeline, and once you're done, you'll earn the grade you earn. It is possible that it could affect some of your financial aid, but since we're trying to get you caught up in the summer semester pending us coming back, it should take care of itself. If it goes beyond the summer semester of being off with no class, it may potentially affect your financial aid, but there's a number of processes that you can go through to have that waived, and this is obviously extenuating circumstances. So the incomplete contracts will be sent out once we come back, and we're able to get those out to you. We're going to handle that internally, and then help the instructors get that out to you guys.
So outside of your next semester, you just get basically everything waived as a result of class through the academic side or not.
So you're hard to hear, Josh, but I think you're asking about like do you get reimbursed?
When we sign up for next semester, as last semester we had a certain grade in that class. Obviously, we're not going to have that this semester. Was that just basically getting a wait for us for all of the extra stuff in the summer classes as well?
Yeah, so in essence, we're going to just allow you to take the next segment of classes. There's no requirement with our accreditation that says we have to have you take those classes in a specific order. That's just a segment we have it set out. So we'll just lump everything all together into that summer semester to get caught up. In essence, once you're done with your the incomplete component, we'll just go right back to the normal class layout. As far as money goes, you won't have to do anything with an incomplete. In essence, an incomplete is just like hitting pause, and then when you're done, it's like hitting play. And at that point, it will go towards your graduation. Yeah. What else you guys got? Any other questions in regards to major issues with the program?
What about our grades? Will we pick up where we left off with our grades? So say you have a B, then you'll have a B when you come back?
Correct. Yes.
Or
Everything.
start over?
Nope. Everything will remain exactly just as it is. We'll probably be more lenient to give you opportunities to do review or to go back and review some additional material, increase your grades, more attempts at additional quizzes, things of that nature, to keep you with your knowledge base from when we left to sustain that. And then we'll continue to pick up right where we left off when we come back, probably after a short review, just to get you caught back up and comfortable. Unless we're able to do it regularly enough through Zoom over the break, then we'll do like a week or two review, and then we'll jump right back into kind of an accelerated format to get caught up.
All right, thank you.
We can also do things online, which can reduce your amount of time that you have to spend in class, especially for your advanced practice lecture or Paramedic 2. So we can do a Zoom like this or a standard traditional lecture, or we can continue to do the activities we do in class and just consolidate that schedule down.
Sounds like we have a lot of options at least.
We have a lot of options because we really don't know what's going to happen. So, all right. So, anything else? Any other questions that you guys have? I don't want to drag this out any longer than we need to. We just want to make sure that you're good with that. So make sure you're filling out the doodle poll link sent out via Moodle, and that you're also filling out the Excel spreadsheet, Google Docs, so that way you can go ahead and pick out your one topic. Every student is going to be required to do that. So pick out a topic that you want to review, something you want to stay away from, and then again, an idea or anything else that you might want to share. And I want all those posted by Monday at 8 o'clock.
So while I have you guys all here, I just wanted to see if there's like a vote on EMS Student of the Year, or...
Wow, Josh.
Probably not you at this point.
The tribe has spoken.
And just so you know, for at this point, at least for the next couple of weeks, if anybody needs any help, if they want any review time, I'm available. Just, send me a message, email me, whatever, and we can get on Zoom and chat if you guys need some help with review time or whatever. I can't hear you, Josh.
You want to bring me a can opener?
Do I want to give you a can opener?
Long story.
No clue.
So the idea behind this is once we have some topics and things that you guys want to do, and we know when you're available to do it, we're going to have a number of different instructors host a webcast like this. So that way they can do some review with you. It could be a test. It could be, I'm interested in doing a podcast about COVID. I'm interested in the pathology that goes along with the disease and why the need for ventilators is so high. It could be something like that. It can be EMS group testing. It can be a discussion. It can be, I've got a ton of static cardiology strips that we can do and case studies that we can do. So there's a lot of different things that we can work on, but we've got to schedule them. We got to make sure you show up, and we've got to make sure that it's going to be useful for you during the time and then again for review afterwards. So other questions or thoughts?
In the meantime, do you have any worksheets that you can email us?
I do, yes. Do you want I'll probably end up sending you guys a link to my Dropbox so you can have access to the forms there. The main thing I want to know from you is, do you want everything I have, or do you want just what we've covered?
All of it. We
Anything
want
and
all of it.
everything.
Okay.
Everything. I would like to see some of Shelly's stuff as well. So stuff for paramedic, pharmacology, and cardiology. Everything.
So you got to remember too that everything on Moodle is still live. So everything that's there on Moodle, you're able to access. You can still work on your quizzes and things that are at least for my classes that are open. So go ahead and you still use those resources, but I will send out a link to the Dropbox so you can download those. They'll have the questions, all the different forms stuff we do in class, and then it will also at the last end of it have all the answers. And I'm working with Rob to see how quickly we can. The college is still buying stuff apparently, and if we can get them to purchase that review, that definitely the review tool will be really awesome for you guys to practice with. It's nice. It's different than EMS testing.
Now, with Moodle, do we have access to the old quizzes as well? Like we can go back and redo those to stay sharp on those skills?
I believe we can open those up for you. I don't have a problem with that. Shelly, what are your thoughts?
I am more than happy to reopen them.
Okay, and I think that's something we can definitely work on here this weekend and get those courses back up, and at least let you retake those. And then, like I said before, we can still do group testing, and we can do this new course Navigate, which is pretty interesting tool as well.
You can go back to EMS testing and review all your quizzes. If you want to retake them, that's when they're going to have to be opened up, and the instructor that put them up would have to go in and make sure everybody can retake the test, and that'd be a one-time thing, and then you can review it from there.
So if there's not any other questions, we can kind of wrap this up. In essence, we're going to get through this. Yeah, it's really screwing everything up, and I understand that it's very frustrating for all of us, but we'll get through it. We're going to make sure you have the tools and the resources beyond what we normally would do to make sure that you're going to be successful. We're going to shoot for the same end timeline of December of 2020, and I don't think we're going to have too many issues to get there. It's going to look different. It's going to change depending on the nature of the situation, but we've got lots of tools and resources for you guys to use and stay together on stuff. Just to recap what we're going to do, we're going to continue to make sure you fill out that Google Sheet, make sure you fill out that doodle poll as far as your topic, and then also make sure that you're checking your Moodle. Shelly and I will get in there and update some of those. If there's anything, Tyler, that you want to add for lab, videos or reviews, or you want to work on some static stuff or some oral stations, any of that would be a great way to practice some of those lab skills we can't do, or that we can do non-face-to-face. So that's going to be what we're going to work on for the time being. And then hopefully this weekend I'll get that data together. I'll get you an actual finalized sheet out, and we can update it and make it go.
I have one more question. So with all of our assignments that were due like last semester, you know, the videos, the drug cards, I know we changed the concept maps to summer. Are we going to change those due dates? Or, because I know I've already started working on them. Is that something I should continue working on, or are we still doing it? I guess would be my question.
The content's not going to change. The assignments and the tests and those things are all going to remain the same. It's just going to be the sequencing of when that'll happen. So feel free to work ahead on those assignments. You know, there's some. I can even get you some additional assignments that are coming out for the summer semester, and so you can kind of work on some of those case studies or research papers that are required for that. But in essence, yeah, feel free to work ahead. You're not going to get punished for working ahead, and we're going to again be gracious with the way that we handle what has been done. So if something needs to be re-uploaded or changed, we'll do that. Does that answer your question, Ariana?
Yes, it does.
Clark, I need you to hang on, and Larry, hang on after we're done here. I got a couple questions for you guys.
Okay. Any other questions from anybody else? All right. Well, be safe out there. Stay busy. Josh, I'm thinking about you. And feel better. If you're Daryl, feel better. You're not feeling so hot. Everybody else have a good one. Be safe. And stay in contact. Call me if you need anything. Phone calls are the best way to get a hold of me right now. So I'll just answer my phone if it rings. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, guys.